Okay. So the event that we experiencing now is a clash, a fight between Jews and Arabs. And I'm carefully choosing my words. Jews and Arabs, it's not the Israelis against Hamas. This is a very narrow way to look at it. Jews and Arabs. There is an amazing prophecy in the Torah, which is very interestingly, you know, Chamisha Torah are the nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu. But this nevuah is not Moshe Rabbeinu's nevuah. It's a nevuah of Bilam that mentioned in Parshas Balak. And I guess you remember what's going on, what was there. At the end of the journey in the desert, in the 40 years in the desert, they came close to Eretz Yisrael from the east, and the Edomites was afraid, and they called Bilam to come curse the Jews. Bilam was a real anti-Semite, and was very happy to do it, but Hashem told him, listen, don't go first. If you want to go, you will go, but you will not say whatever you want to say. I will put things in your mouth. And here we find something amazing, that Hashem speaks to the world, mostly to us, through the mouth of Bilam. And Moshe Rabbeinu wrote it in his Sfarim, in his Torah, in Chamisha Torah. So the story was like this. He tried to curse, and it was 3 rounds that Balak took him. This way, that way, this way. He started to talk, blessing come from his mouth. Balak was very frustrated, and he wanted to just send him away. And he told him, Brach lecha el mekomcha, go away. You didn't, I pay you, I ask you to come to curse them. You not just not curse them, you give them blessing, go away. Then comes the 4th nevuah. He said 3 things, again from different 3 points. And then when he was chased out, he said the following. Look at this. Ve'ata. It's Sefer Bamidbar, Perek Kaf Daled. I will say it with my accent, but you could say it, okay? Ve'ata hineni holech le'ami. And now I'm going to my nation, says Bilam to Balak. Lecha i'atzcha asher ya'aseh ha'am hazeh le'amcha be'acharit hayamim. And the Mefarshim, the Medrash says that there are 2 things. Lecha i'atzcha, let me give you an advice. That's one thing. And then I'll tell you what's going to happen at the end of days. And here we find a nevuah that Hashem put in the mouth of Bilam for the end of days. By the way, the concept Achris Hayomim, end of days, mentioned in the entire Chamisha Chumshei Torah 4 times only. One of them is here in Sefer Bamidbar Parshas Balak. So it says here, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen at the end of days. And he gave, not too long, few psukim. I want to take now one pasuk out of all the psukim, and this is the pasuk, pasuk of Gimel. Vayisa meshalo vayomar, oy mi yichye misumo el. He said he said just few words, and those words are not completely vague. You do not know what he's talking about. He said oy. Oy is oy vey. Meaning he sees something in the vision, and he was terrified. And he said, oy, mi yichye, who could live when HaKadosh Baruch Hu will apply this. Misumo, meaning he will put it, he will make it happen. So he said, he saw a terrible thing, and he said, you have to be lucky to survive this. That's the pshat. But he didn't say what. He didn't say what he's talking about. So there is the pshat. We're going to go, in the 4 levels of the pardes, pshat, remez, drash, and sod. We will go to the drash. The drash is the 3rd level deeper. Because the pshat, the simple, the hint, the remez, the drash, midrashim, and the sod. Of course, any medrash could not be explained without understanding the deep, the sod. But let's say first what the medrash says about this. So I want to show you a medrash. It's probably one of the earliest midrashim that was ever written. And I mean the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer ben Markonos, Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol was the Rav of Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva was the Rav of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, and those are the words in the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer. It's completely need explanation, but let's first see what's written. Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, Sof Perek Lamed, at the end of the 30th Perek. Vayisa meshalo vayomar, Oy mi yichye misumoel, this is a quote from the Pasuk. Amar Bilam, Bilam says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sam shmo leYisrael. The end two letters of the name Yisrael are Aleph Lamed, which is the name of Hashem. Ho'il vehishva shmo shel Yishmael leshmo shel Yisrael. In all the nations in the world, there are only two nations that carried in them those letters, Aleph Lamed, and those Yisrael and Yishmael. So there is a common denominator between them in a way. Ho'il v'yishva shmo shel Yishmael l'shmo shel Yisrael, oy mi yichye b'yamav. Oy mi yichye b'yamav. So it says ho'il, ho'il meaning because those letters are there, that letters, which is the name of Hashem, give him so much power that when he will come to the front of the stage at the end of days, because we said, the Pasuk said that those events are going to be at the end of days. When he will come at the front of the stage, it will be terrible. Oy mi yichye b'yamav. Shene'emar, oy mi yichye misumoel. So what's the Medrash revealed to us? That those vague words of Bilam talks about Yishmael. And he talks about Yishmael in Achris HaYomim, when he will be confronting the Jewish nation. Okay, so remember this. I just give few more sources and then we'll put it together. We have to understand the story of Yishmael altogether from the beginning. In Parshas Lech Lecha, it says that Sarah was not able to bring children to the world, and she very much wants to raise a child with Avraham. So she has an idea. I have a maid, Hagar. Take Hagar. If you'll have a baby with her, we'll raise it together. Right? That was the idea of Sarah. And that's what happened. Avraham was at the time 85 years old when he married or took Hagar. She became pregnant, and the next year, when Avraham was 86, Yishmael was born. But before that, it was when Hagar was pregnant, the Torah says that she started to not respect her Sarah, her master, So Sarah was hurt of this, complained to Avraham. Avraham said, do whatever you want to her, and she tortured her. That's the words of the Pasuk. V'te'anea Sarah. She tortured her, and she ran away. When she ran away, she was pregnant. Actually, the Medrash, okay, whatever. We'll assume that she was pregnant. And a malach came to her and told her a few things. First of all, you have to go back, because you're going to have a baby. This baby must be raised by Avraham Avinu. So you go back. Now, Hashem aware that you are suffering, and therefore, you gonna name the baby the name that I will tell you. You know what will be the name of the baby? Yishmael. Why? Because Hashem listen or aware of what you're going through. That was the given reason in the Torah. The other thing that he told her, not just go back, not just the name of the baby, but the character of this person. Vehu yeh pere adam. Yado bakol v'yad kol bo, it will be wild and he will fight with everyone and everyone will fight with him. That's what's written in the Torah. So let's see this pasuk again. In that the Malach told her, Vayomer la, to Hagar, Malach Hashem, Hina chara v'yoladet ben, v'karat shmo Yishmael. Why? Ki shama Hashem eloniach. Ki shama, this ki is a key word. Ki shama Hashem eloniach, meaning this is the reason. Why you have to name it Yishmael? Because Hashem hear your suffering, aware of your suffering. But we have to know that names, that's a whole big thing by itself. I have a whole amazing information about names. Name is a big thing. You have to know, if you remember, the first mission that Adam Rishon, right after he was created, before he was in Gan Eden and Hashem told him, don't eat from Etz Hadat Tovara, he bring all the animals in front of him to see, lirot ma yikra lo, v'chol asher yikra lo, ha'adam nefesh chaya u'shmo. Adam gave names to all the animals. And it says, v'chol asher yikra lo, ha'adam nefesh chaya u'shmo, meaning he knew how to give the right names. What's a big deal? Name is the essence of the thing that got the name, real name. Therefore, it's a lot of chachma. You have to know what is it, to define it by the name. Therefore, it's in a way a problem with this thing. Why? It seems like not enough reason to name this person by this name Yishmael just because of few months or maybe few years that his mother was suffering. It seems not enough reason, especially because this baby going to be a father of a whole nation, and it's not, the name is not just the name of the person, it's the name of the nation. So after we see this in the Pshat, in the Torah, let's go back to the Medrash, again to the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, and here you will see something amazing. In the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, relating to this, says, in Perek Lamed Bet, says the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer like this. Shisha nikre'u b'shmotam ad shelo noldu. There are 6 people. You know, usually it's the privilege of the parents to decide what name to give to the baby. 6 people, the Medrash mentioned over here, that Hashem said the name to the parents, how to name the baby. And here's the list. Shisha nikre'u b'shmotam ad shelo noldu ve'elu hen, Yitzchak v'Yishmael, Moshe u'Shlomo v'Yoshiyahu u'Melech HaMashiach. So we'll not go to the details of each one of them. Let's emphasize Yishmael. Yishmael menayin, שנאמר, ויאמר למלאך השם, הנה חרה ויולדת בן וקראת שמו Yishmael. But if you look at the reason again, why it says in the pasuk, כי שמע Hashem et onyech. Shama is in the past. Shama or Shomea, but it says Shama. Hashem heard you, meaning he heard that you suffer and therefore you ran away. So the name of the baby should be Shamael without the Yud, because Yud, the Yud in the beginning make it future. Like Yelech, Yeshev. The Yud make it future. So here we found the Yud. So the Medrash says the following, and this is amazing. Velama nikra shmo Yishmael. What kind of question is this? Velama nikra shmo Yishmael. The pasuk says exactly why. The Tana Rabbi Eliezer has to ask this. Ask any little boy in the Cheder who will tell you why. Ki shama Hashem eloniach. So it's not just that Rabbi Eliezer asked why nikra shmo Yishmael. He gave a different reason. שעתיד לשמוע הקדוש ברוך הוא בכל נאקת העם. עתיד, it's in the future. Hashem gonna hear the agony of the people. Which people? The Jewish people will see. ממה שעתידים בני ישמעאל לעשות בארץ באחרית הימים. So this is the Medrash. So the Yishmael is not just the name because Hagar was suffering. This is the essence of this person and the nation. This nation is created in order to annoy the Jewish people, to make them crying out to Hashem, and Hashem going to listen. Okay? שעתיד לשמוע הקדוש ברוך הוא בכל נאקת העם, ממה שעתידים בני ישמעאל לעשות בארץ באחרית הימים, לפיכך, therefore, נקרא שמו ישמעאל. But look here, שנאמר ישמעאל ויענם, and he bring a quote from Tehillim Nunhei. Okay. We starting to put together information to understand what Bilam was terrified, and he said, Oy. Oy mi yichya misumokel. So what is this? What Bnei Yishmael gonna do at the end of days? I learned in the hard way, many, many years ago, when I was still a regular yeshiva bocher learning Gemara and Midrashim, I learned that if you really, this is a good advice, take it from me, you're not going to regret. If you want to really understand the depth of everything that the Medrash or the Gemara bring, when the Gemara bring a pasuk, don't be lazy. Sometimes the Gemara bring a whole pasuk as a raya for something. The Gemara, the Medrash, sometimes even half a pasuk, a few, 2 words. When you go, it's working. When you, don't be lazy, go open it, see the entire pasuk, see the entire psukim before and after, you will get a bigger perspective. Okay? So the pasuk, the Medrash bothered here to bring a pasuk from Tehillim Nunhei, and he quote 3 words, Yishmael ve'yanim. So over here, the Yishmael are 2 words, Yishmael. Rabbi Shalom will hear and will answer. What is this about over there in Tehillim? So let's go through this perek, not the entire perek, but major things, and you'll see what's in the perek and how it will make our understanding of what the Medrash bring here much clearer. Here's the perek. למנצח בנגינות מזמור משכיל לדוד. האזינה אלוקים תפילתי ואל תתעלה מתחינתי. הקשיבה לי וענני אריד בשיחי וההימה. Let's just explain a little bit the meaning of the words. Oh, before that, David. Let's speak a bit about David. David HaMelech has a very hard life. He went through so much since he was a little kid. And he wrote Tehillim in many cases as a personal davening, personal tefillos that he has to Hashem. בבורחו מפני אבשלום בנו, there is when he ran away from Avshalom, בהיותו במערה, when he was in the cave running from Shaul. It seems like very personal, but what we have to know, that David HaMelech wrote Sefer Tehillim Baruch HaKodesh. It's not in the Nevi'im Tehillim, it's in the Ksuvim. And the Gemara in Masechus Megillah bring that the difference between the Nevi'im and the Ksuvim make the Ksuvim in higher level, believe it or not. Why? The Gemara, this is the beginning of Megillah. The Gemara says that everything is Ruach HaKodesh, everything is Nevuah. So what's the division between the Nevi'im and the Ksuvim? So we have the Tanakh. The Torah is Chamisha Torah, that's the Sefer Torah, right? But Nevi'im and Ksuvim, all of them was written in Ruach HaKodesh, and some of the Sfarim was written by the same people. That the same Nevi'im that wrote the Nevi'im wrote the Ksuvim. How it divided to Nevi'im and Ksuvim? So the explanation to this is that Ksuvim, let's start from the Nevi'im. The meaning of the word Nevuah connected to the word Tnuvat HaSadeh, meaning things that grow, fruits or whatever, grow in the field. It's called Tvu'ah, Tnuvat HaSadeh. Le'aniv, it's to bring out. The Navi gets information in Nevuah, and when the Navi was commanded to say it, to gather people, it could be one person, could be a nation, could be the Jewish nation or other nation, when the Navi was commanded to say it, then those things are written in the Nevi'im. But sometimes the Navi get information not in order to say it, because if he will say it, no one will understand what he's talking about. So Hashem told the Navi, write it down. Now it will not be explained. Later on it will be explained. And it's very important that it will be documented. And this is the difference between the Nevi'im and the Ksuvim. The entire Sefer Tehillim is in the Ksuvim, not in the Nevi'im. We know that Jews during the history, as individuals, as a groups, as a nation, always davening from Tehillim. Look at the Siddur. The Siddur is full of Mizmarim of Tehillim, right? In Tehillim, there is a lot of secrets. A lot of secrets in Tehillim. And many of them could not be explained at the time when they were written, or very partially explained. And here we come to this. David HaMelech wrote Sefer Tehillim as an individual and as a Melech Israel, the king of Israel. Meaning, he speaks in the name of the nation. Aside from the fact that he speaks, meaning every pasuk in Tehillim, every mizmor in Tehillim has double meaning. As David, and as the David as the king of the Melech Israel. So, according to this, let's just reread the first pasuk. האזינה, למנצח בנגינות משכיל לדוד, האזינה אלוקים את תפילתי. He begging Hashem, please listen to me. And don't ignore. Not just listen, don't ignore. It's very important that you will not ignore because it's crucial. אל תתעלה מתחינתי, הקשיבה לי, listen to me, וענני, and answer me. אריד בשיחי וההימה, I'm in a big trouble, אריד. By the way, last week Parsha, והיה כאשר תריד, by Yaakov, when Yitzchak gave the bracha to Esau after he begs him, והיה כאשר תריד ופרקת עולם על צווארך, Rashi bring this pasuk. תריד כמו אריד בשיחי, לשון צער. Meaning, אריד, I'm helpless, I'm in trouble, therefore I'm talking to you. בשיחי, I'm משוחח, talking, davening to you, וההימה. What's the big deal? What's the big thing that David HaMelech started this way? He explained, מכל אויב, מפני עקת רשע. The sound or the voice of the enemy from the press that the Russia putting on me, כי ימיתו עלי אבן ובאף יסתמוני. This Russia, this oyev, which is not mentioned here in his name, Yamit alay aven. Yamit alay, bring upon me aven. Aven is a lie. Sheker. Aven. Because of this sheker, be'af yistemuni. They hate me very, very much. Libi yachil bekirbi ve'emot mavet naflu alay. I'm scared to death. And my heart is shaking. So he is in a big trouble. He is expressing this. יראה ורעד יבוא בי ותחסני פלצות. So I'll not translate everything, but if you understand the idea, I'm really terrified and I want to run away. מי ייתן לי עבר כיונה, he wish I'll have wings and I will go away, even I'll go to the desert. הנה הרחיק נדוד עלין במדבר סלע, אחי שם יפלט לי מרוח סועה מסער. There is a tornado going around, I want to run away. From what? From the voice of this enemy, from the lie, from the hatred. Now he davened to Hashem, he asked Hashem, Bala Hashem palag leshonam. Cut off their tongue, because with their tongue they saying a lie, and this lie goes around and convince people to hate me and to kill me. So cut off. Bala Hashem palag leshonam. Ki ra'iti Hamas v'riv ba'ir. So, ra'iti Hamas. Hamas in Lashon HaKodesh is stealing. That's the meaning of the word. Ki mal haaretz Hamas mipneim. Hamas is stealing. Ki ra'iti Hamas v'riv ba'ir. Which ir? So, there is an ir, a town. On this town, Yomam v'layla yesovevu al chomotea. They around this town, this city, right? This city is Yerushalayim. Ve'aven ve'amal bekirba. And they lying about this city. And it's inside out. Havot bekirba velo yamish merechovat toch umirma. There is a lot of lie around this city. And this lie caused me to be terrified. כי לא אויב יחרפני ואסע, לא משניא עלי יגדיל ואסתר ממנו, ואתה אנוש כערכי אלופים יהודאי, אשר יחדיו נמתיק כסות, בבית אלוקים נהלך ברגש. So here in the personal level he speak about running from Avshalom, his son, and Achitophel, that was his best friend, was pushing everyone to kill him. So, and he said, you, Achitophel, you were someone like me. Bevet Elokim nalech berekdesh. Bevet Elokim is Beis HaMikdash. Okay? Now, he continued going back to the enemy, and he said, Yashi mavet alemo. Yashi mavet, it's a one word, actually it's two words. It should be Aleph after the Yud. Yashi mavet. Yashi, bring death upon them. Yerdush ol chayim. Put them down in the ground alive. Kiraot bimeguram, because they are very bad inside themselves. And now he says, Ani el Elokim ekra Hashem yoshieni. I have nothing to do, just to cry out to Hashem, daven to Hashem, and Hashem will help me, will say, save me. Erev avoker v'tzoraim asicha ve'emeh, vayishma koli. I will daven and daven and daven, and Hashem will listen to my voice. Now look, this is the continuation. This is the quote that we saw in the Perkei Rabbi Eliezer. The next pasuk. Pada b'shalom nafshi mikrav li, ki berabim hayu imadi. Hashem will take me in peace, redeem me in peace, mikrav li, because I have a fight. Ki berabim hayu imadi, there are many of them against me. And here's the words. Yishmael ve'yanem. Yishmael ve'yanem. This is the quote from Perkei Rabbi Eliezer, right? למה נקרא שמו ישמעאל? על שם שנאמר ישמעאל ויענם. So be aware of this. From the beginning of the chapter to the end of it, the entire parak, no Ishmael mentioned. Could be any enemy. Could be Achitophel, could be other thing. But because of the Perkei Rabbi Eliezer, we know that this speaks about Ishmael. And he's speaking about a lie and about a city. And what is the big thing today? What actually is a fight between us and the Arabs, the Muslims? They claim that Yerushalayim is there. That's the entire thing. They have a mosque over there. They think it's there. And because of that, they're fighting and want to kill the Jewish nation. So this is the lie. And this lie is very, very popular. The entire world agree with them, not with us. Go to the United Nations, you'll see. Vast majority are with them. Their opinion, it's theirs. We are occupying them, okay? And this lie is very, very dangerous because it's not just words. It's words that goes to action. And therefore, we are in dangerous situation. I will not say this without the Perkei Rabbi Eliezer that say that it's speaking exactly about this. Shene'emar Yishmael ve'yanem. And it speaks about the city and the mirmo. Now, Yishmael ve'yanem ve'yashev kedem sela asher en chalifot lamo ve'lo yaru elokim. Now, if you remember, before October 7, before Simchas Torah, many people, of course here in America, I mean, I'm talking about the administrations, not about the Jews, the Americans. And until now, they think that the idea is to make a solution, like divide the country to two, right, to nations, to states. And until now, they never learned anything. And it was an illusion that cost us in the life of so many Jews that you could make peace with them. That was the Oslo agreements. And then they force us, the Bush administrations, and to disconnect from Gaza, right? Why? Because if we give them their state, everything will be fine. Right? And many people believed that you could get to an agreement with them and solve a problem. The pasuk says, you just have to read this in order to understand that in the first place that there is no chance. Look, Shalach yadav bishlomav chilel brito. You cannot make a peace with them. Because they will sign out any document you want, but then they will just not respect it. Chalku machamaot piv, they will come in the United Nations and say, yeah, we want peace, just give us this and this and this. That's in the mouth, but in the heart, ukrav libo. And they fight. They never give up fighting. Raku dvarav mishemen vehem aptichot. They talk nicely, I mean those representatives of them, vehem aptichot. Ptichot, says the Meforshim, are swords. So what are we going to do? What's the solution? Hashlech al Hashem yavcha v'hu yichalkelecha v'lo yiten le'olam mot latzadik. There is no solution. The only solution is to go to Hashem. He's the only one who could save you. ואל ייתן, לא ייתן לעולם מות לצדיק, but you have to be tzaddik for that. ואתה אלוהים תורידם לבאר שחת. And look at this. אנשי דומים ומרמה. They are murderers and they are liars. You cannot trust them. So the davening is, the tefillah is, לא יחצו ימיהם. Don't make them cross the age of 35. לא יחצו ימיהם. ואני אבטח בו. This is the mizmor. So we learned the midrashim. Remember how we started. We started from Bilam, from the Nevo, Oy mi yichem yisumoel. Then we saw the Medrash. And the Medrash says the Aleph Lamed that they have. And by the way, we have to know, the Rambam says that the difference between Christianity and Muslims, that Christians are idol worshippers. They took a person and relate to it as God. This is idol worshipping. But not the Muslims. The Muslims believe in one God, Elohei Avraham, and everything that they do is in the name of Allah. Allahu Akbar. When they say Allah, they mean Hashem, Elokei Israel. They do not have a problem with the first thing in the 7 mitzvos of Noah. They believe in one God. They are murderers, they are doing all the rest, but they believe in one God. And the Medrash says that their power comes from the fact that they believe in Hashem. Hashem put his name, Aleph Lamed, in their name. Okay, then we saw that the Medrash continue and say that they're gonna do things at the end of days. And this is the meaning of Yishmael. Hashem gonna listen to the cry out of the Jewish nation from what those Muslims gonna do. Fine. So here's the Medrash again, and now it's better understood. Okay. So again, now to the Hashkafa. What do we have to do? What do we have to do? We have this event. What is the solution? So we learned in the pasuk, in the Mizmor. There's no solution. The only solution is only Hashem could save us. Only Hashem. Hashlech el Hashem yavcha. So the purpose of Yishmael in the world, and about this I have so much more information, but it cannot be given in one evening. There is so much about why Yishmael was a necessity. Why Esau was a necessity. Why Hashem didn't just bring Yitzchak without Yishmael, without Bnei Keturah, and to Yitzchak and Rivka bring only Yaakov, no Esau. So there are a deep meaning why. But according to what's written here, Yishmael, and you know what, and I want to remind you another thing. When Hashem told Avraham that he's going to bring him a son from Sarah, Avraham, of course, believed Hashem, but he said to Hashem, if you remember, Lu Yishmael yichya lefonecha. Maybe you mean Yishmael, you know what? Halavai Yishmael yichya. So Hashem told him, no. Aval Sarah ishtecha yoledet lecha ben. You'll have a son from Sarah. And Uli Yishmael shma aticha. I heard about Ishmael. He's your son. Okay, don't worry about him. I'll make him a big nation. Avraham Avinu davened for Yishmael. Even after Hashem promised him Yitzchak, he davened for Yishmael. So Yishmael is a necessity. What is the necessity? I said now, in general, the necessity of Yishmael, Yishmael has a job. You know what is the job of Yishmael? To make us understand that only if we will connect to Hashem, then we'll be good. Why it's needed? Because at the end of days, many Jews will not be connected to Hashem. And they will need someone to show them that they have no solution but daven to Hashem. And this is the job of Yishmael. That's what comes from here. Now, how do we know? How do we know that when we daven to Hashem, Hashem will hear us? It says in the Torah here. Again, we're going back to the desert, to the 40 years of the desert. At the end, it says, "Vayishlach Moshe malachim mikadesh el melech Edom. כה אמר אחיך יעקב, אתה ידעת את כל התלאה אשר מצאתנו." And he told them the entire story. They were around Edom, which is, if you know the geography, in the south of Yam HaMelach. This is the area of Edom. So they reached this place, and Edom said, I will not let you go through my country. So Moshe Rabbeinu says the following, "וישלח משה מלאכים מקדש אל מלך אדום, כה אמר אחיך ישראל, אתה ידעת את כל התלאה אשר מצאתנו." You know all the history, what happened with us, וירדו אבותינו מצרימה, ונשב במצרים ימים רבים, ויראו לנו מצרים ולאבותינו. ונצעק אל השם, וישמע קולנו. We cried out to Hashem before it says מצרים, and Hashem heard us. וישלח מלאך מיני משה רבנו, ויוציאנו ממצרים, והנה אנחנו בקדש עיר קצה גבולך. says רש"י, ונצעק אל השם וישמע קולנו, וישמע קולנו בברכה שברכנו אבינו, הכל כל יעקב. What is the bracha? When we using the call of יעקב, אנחנו נענים. שאנו צועקים ונענים. But we have to cry. What will cause us to cry? Yishmael. Why? Because without Yishmael, we could think everything is fine. We do not need Hashem. I mean, when I'm talking about the nation in general, not individual. Of course, tzaddikim there are in every generation. But the vast majority, if you look today again about what's going on, we have about approximately 14 million Jews in the world. 14. Which is not, it's less than a quarter of a percent from the population of the world. We're talking about 7 billion people. No? 70 million is 1%. We're talking about 14 million, we are less than a quarter of the percent. Okay? Out of those 14 million, maybe 2 million, maybe, all over the world, in Eretz Yisrael, in America, all over the world, maybe 2 million, maybe a little bit more than 2 million, are observing, keeping Shabbos, keeping Torah. The rest, we're talking about close to 12 million Jews, has no connection to Hashem. Some of them, nothing whatsoever. The others are here, but they're not connected. So we need a connection. We need to be reconnect to Hashem. That's one of the jobs of Yishmael. Of course, for the Jews who live there, because he's there more than here, even though they have demonstration even over here, it's not so simple all over the world. This is the job of Yishmael. So this is the thing. But it says, because we have the bracha of Hakol Kol Yaakov, when we use the Kol Yaakov, Anachnu Na'ani, we have the bracha. Vayishma Kolenu. Okay. Let's go back to what happened in Simchas Torah. Many people in the world were in shock. How could it be? 80 years after the Holocaust, a Holocaust in the place when they establish a state that the entire idea of the state is no more Holocaust. And it happened worse, even in a way, even worse than the Holocaust. The Nazis, Yimach Shemon, tried to hide the killing of the Jews. They were proud. They sent it all over. And they were so cruel. And many people, especially because they're so naive, the entire Western society is so naive. As I said before, people think you could talk to them, you could make peace agreement with them. They have no clue what their nature is. And therefore, they were so shocked how people could do such a thing. You know, you heard probably, at least part of what happened, but they did crazy things. No one, you have to be really twisted in your essence to do these things, to cut off heads of babies. It's crazy, crazy. But anyone who knows and learn the Torah will not be surprised. I was not surprised. I was shocked, but I was not surprised. Look what's written over here. As I said, the Malach didn't just say the name Yishmael. He explained also the character. ויאמר למלאך השם, הנה חרבי יולדת בן וקראת שמו ישמעאל, כי שמע השם אל ענייך. והוא יהיה, and he will be, פרא אדם. ידו בכל ויד כל בו, ועל פני כל אחיו ישכון. What is פרא אדם? פרא אדם, to translate, פרא is wild. Wild, but wild Adam. Wild Adam. In Lashon Kodesh, it's not correct in the grammar. The Adam should be before the Pere. Like if you say, this person is a good person. So in Hebrew you say, Adam Tov. In English you say good person. First good and then the person. But in Hebrew it's not like this. You say Adam Tov, Adam Ra, Adam Chacham, Adam Tipesh. First the Adam. Here, in Lashon Kodesh, it says first Pere and then Adam. What's Pere? What's the definition of Pere? Pere is wild, but what do you mean? What's the definition of Adam? Adam is intelligent creature that has a seichel, has ability to supervise his action. He's not working, spontaneously. He's in charge. The seichel is in charge. Animals doesn't have seichel. But Adam who has seichel must use the seichel. Seichel is not just a gift. It's a responsibility. You got it, use it. Yishmael, by definition, is first pere. He's not working from here. He's working from the emotion, from the impulse. Pere Adam. Let me see if no, I don't have it here. I'll show it to you later. Okay, let me show you a medrash about this, about Pere Adam. Says the medrash. It's a midrash Rabbah. והוא יהיה פרא אדם. רבי יוחנן ורבי שמעון בן לקיש. רבי יוחנן אמר שהכל יהיו גדלים ביישוב והוא יהיה גדל במדבר. So the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan here, he explained what Pere Adam, in what way it will be expressed. Human beings are social people. They build communities, they build cities. In the city you have order, you have laws, orders. But Yishmael, after Avraham Avinu was asked by Hashem to do what Sarah says, send him away, he sent him where? It was in Beersheba, and he sent him to the south. Vatelech vateta b'midbar Beersheba. And it says that Yishmael vayeshev b'midbar Paran. And he was in the desert. Desert is the antithesis of city. In the desert you could do whatever you want. No rules. Do whatever you want. Because to be in place with orders, it's not good for him. That means that he is pere. שהכל יהיו גדלים ביישוב והוא יהיה גדל במדבר. That's רבי יוחנן. רבי שמעון בן לקיש אמר, פרא אדם ודאי, שהכל בוזזים ממון והוא בוזז נפשות. While people who do not have rules, what they're interested in? Money. So they take money from people. He's not interested just in the money. He's interested in killing people. Bozez nefashot. So it's written here clearly. That's the nature of it. Now we have to add to this also the religion. People, professional people who analyze the Arab-Israeli conflict, they have no clue how deep the emotions of the religion is in the equation. They think, okay, they want territory, give them half, like the Mishnah in Masechet Bava Metzia. שניים אוחזים בטלס, זה אומר כולה שלי, זה אומר כולה שלי, okay, divide it, זה ייקח חצי, half and half and everything will be fine. They do not understand the meaning of, you have to understand the Islam, the Muslims. It's something that they teach their children from day one. Let me just give you some of the principles of Islam to understand why it's impossible that never will be any solution with the Arabs. According to the Muslims, the entire world, not Israel, the entire world divided to two sections. A section called by them the place of Islam, and the other part of the world called the place of the war. What's under those titles? The place of the Islam, any place that in the last 1400 years, since Muhammad, since the establishment of the Islam, any place, any territory in the entire world that was under a Muslim rulership, doesn't matter where, even for a short time, called the place of the Islam. And the mitzvah of them is a mitzvah called jihad, and the jihad obligated every Muslim to do whatever they could in order to make this territory return to the Muslims in the entire world. And I have to remind you that the Muslims reached and conquered part of Europe too. Spain, Portugal was under the rulership of the Islam. So for them, it's a mitzvah, and they have to give their life in order to bring this place back to the rule of the Islam. The other places called the place of war, meaning the Islam wants to conquer those places who never was in order to put the Islam there. So the Islam see itself like the religion, the only religion that's valid, and everyone in the world should be Muslim. Now, those places who was already under the rulership of the Islam, they must be released. And every Muslim has to put his life in order to do this. Therefore, all these dreams to do two-state solution is a nonsense. If they will agree, now, they say the Hamas and the Hezbollah and the fundamental Islam like Iran, Hezbollah, Muslim Brothers and all of those, they said clearly, will be never peace. We want every inch. The other ones, the Muslim who are not that Muslim, I mean the secular Muslim, like Arafat and Abu Mazen and all those, they not giving up the idea to, but because they're not so religious, they say or pretend that if you will give them a state, fine. But even though they're not meaning to this. Anyways, there is no way to get any peace agreement ever with any Muslim. It's a war that la chayim ve la mavet. I don't know, how much time we have? People need to go home probably at a certain point. You know, I just will start something. If you want, I'll continue it next, another 5 minutes just to show something very, very important. And this is going to touch a very sensitive issue. The fight is over Eretz Yisrael. So we know, or we think we know, that Eretz Yisrael belongs to us, right? That's what we think. It's not correct. It's not absolutely accurate, and I want to show this. But this is the claim. The Jews saying Eretz Yisrael is ours. Of course, Yerushalayim. It's a Mikdash place, right? Of course, Hebron, which is the Avos was Marsa Machpelah. That's what we claim. They claim that everything belonged to them. Nothing belonged to us. So this is the Shnayim Ochazim Betalis. Now I want to check again our opinion. It belongs to us, right? Who said? Who said? So let me show you the first pasuk in the Torah, and the Rashi will bring the Medrash and analyze it, and we'll start with it. If you want, we could continue in the next shiurim. We could speak about this in details. The first pasuk in the Torah. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. The Torah, called Torah, what is the meaning of the word Torah? Instructions, directions. Torah li et haderech, show me the way. So Torah are what to do, what not to do. Of course, in the Torah we find mitzvos aseh, mitzvos lo taseh, what to do, what not to do. But the Torah includes much more than that. It's not just a list of mitzvos, mitzvot aseh, mitzvot lo taseh. There are whole stories. If you take Sefer Bereshis, in Sefer Bereshis there are few mitzvahs in the entire Sefer. The vast majority of the Sefer is stories. In the beginning, how Hashem created the world, Parshas Bereshis, Maaseh Bereshis, and then what happened with Cain and Hevel, and later on Noach and the Mabul, and then Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and whatever happened to them. How is this connected or under the title Torah? What's Torah here? It's history, right? No, it's not right. Everything is Torah. And that's what we have to know. The Torah not just teaching us what to do and what not to do, but how to look at the creation that Hashem created. The Torah not saying do and not do, but how to think right. And this is the reason that Hashem bring the entire Maaseh Bereshis and Noach and show the Mabul there is a mitzvah, and if there is a free choice, but if you choose this is the consequences. This is Torah also. This is Hashkafa Torah by the stories in the Torah. So, saying that, let's see what Rashi says about this pasuk, and I'll not show the entire Rashi, but about the word Bereshis. Rashi says, he bring a medrash. אמר רבי יצחק, לא היה צריך להתחיל את התורה אלא מהחודש הזה לכם. If the Torah are a list of mitzvahs, the first mitzvah that we got is mitzvahs Kiddush HaChodesh. Why? There are mitzvahs before that, Bris Milah to Avraham Avinu and other stuff. Why מהחודש הזה לכם? Because in the Torah it says, Torah tzivah lanu Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu tzivah the Torah lanu, as a nation. And as a nation, the first mitzvah that we got as a nation was Kiddush HaChodesh in Mitzrayim, before it says Mitzrayim. לא היה צריך להתחיל את התורה אלא מהחודש הזה לכם, שהיא מצווה ראשונה שנצטוו בה ישראל. ומה הטעם פתח בבראשית? Why Hashem started the Torah from Bereshit? משום, quote the pasuk in Tehillim, כוח מעשיו הגיד לעמו לתת להם נחלת גויים. This is the פרק ק"יא, the first פסוקים. הודה את השם בכל לבב, גדולים מעשי השם, גדולים מעשי השם, זכר עשה לנפלאותיו, כוח מעשיו הגיד לעמו לתת להם נחלת גויים. What is the meaning of this? What's כוח מעשיו? The Torah started, the first פרק, actually ששת ימי בראשית and Shabbos, mentioned Hashem as Elokim, not Yud Kei Vav Kei. Elokim is Midas Hadin. Midas Hadin is the power. This is the koyach. The creation, the bria, is the highest manifestation of the power of Hashem, to create everything from nothing. This is koyach masav. Why koyach masav higid le'amo in the beginning of the Torah? Latet lehem nachalat goyim. Says the Medrash, Rashi bring this. אמר רבי יצחק, לא היה צריך להתחיל את התורה אלא מהחודש הזה לכם. ומה טעם פתח בבראשית? משום כוח מעשיו הגיד לעמו לתת להם נחלת גויים. שאם יאמרו אומות העולם לישראל ליסטים אתם, if the nation of the world will come to the Jewish nation and say, you are stealer, you murdered the 7 nations that were there and you didn't hide it. It's mentioned in the Tanakh, in Sefer Yoshua, it's mentioned in the Torah that Hashem says, לא תחיה כל נשמה, you are murderers. You just genocide these 7 nations and took their countries. So what are we going to say about this? What are we going to say about this? שאם יאמרו אומות העולם לישראל, ליסטים אתם שכבשתם ארצות 7 גויים, הם אומרים להם כל הארץ של הקדוש ברוך הוא. It's not theirs. It's not theirs. It was not their place. Hashem created the entire world. It belongs to him. He is the master of the universe. He is Rabbi YIshmaelite. שאם יאמרו אומות העולם לישראל, הסתים אתם שכבשתם ארצות שבעה גויים, meaning it's belonged to them and you took it from them, הם אומרים להם, meaning the Jews will say to them, כל הארץ של הקדוש ברוך הוא בראעה. And therefore he is a בעל הבית, he will decide. But listen to this, ונתנה לאשר ישר בעיניו. And he gave it to the one he thought is the proper one to have it. Now the Medrash says, ברצונו נתנה להם, וברצונו נטלה מהם, ונתנה לנו. And everyone who read this emphasize that. Hashem took it from them and gave it to us. But before it says, ברצונו נתנה להם, and I'm asking, why? Was a ratzon. היה רצון אלוקי, Hashem wanted to give it to them before he gave it to us. Why? Why? And later on, he took it from them and gave it to us. And again, why? Why he gave it to us? What is the ratzon? What is the ratzon eloki? Why the ratzon was in the beginning to give it to them, and then take them of them, and the ratzon now is to give it to us. So there is a very deep things behind it. I will say it now in brief, and we'll conclude here. And you'll see that there is so much more to say about this. Another fact that's very interesting, two facts. Avraham Avinu was not born in Eretz Yisrael. He was born either in Ur-Kasdim or in Aram Naharaim. And from them, Hashem told them, Lech lecha al haaretz asher areka. Again, why? Why Avraham Avinu was not born in Eretz Yisrael, in the holy place, the Holy Land? This is fact number one. Fact number two, Hashem promised the Eretz Yisrael to Avraham Avinu, Lecha ulzarecha etan et haaretz hazot. But then in Bris ben HaBesarim, Hashem told him, Yadoa teda ki ger yezarecha ve'eretz lo lahem. ועבדום ועינו אותם, ודור רביעי ישובו הנה. Why? You see, it's not just Avraham Avinu was born there and Hashem sent them from there to Eretz Yisrael. The Jewish nation, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov was born in Eretz Yisrael. And then they went to exile, and the Jewish nation established, created in Mitzrayim. To Mitzrayim was a big family of Yaakov, ב-70 נפש ירדו אבותיך מצרימה, and from Mitzrayim we came as a nation. Why is that? Another thing, when Hashem promised Eretz Yisrael to Avraham Avinu, he told him, I'm going to give you the land, but you have to go to give something instead. Your part in this bris will be, ואתה את בריתי תשמור, הימול לכם כל זכר, bris milah. Bris milah is in the condition. This is the condition. In order for you to get Eretz Yisrael, you have to give bris milah. What's the connection between bris milah, hasarat ha'orla, to Eretz Yisrael? So again, it's very, very deep. It's mentioned. There is no explanation whatsoever in the Pshat. It's mentioned in the Kabbalah, in the Zohar, in general, in brief. This is the following. This is the explanation. Hashem created the world, he created Adam, and he put him in Gan Eden. If you put him in Gan Eden, meaning this is his place. But because he sinned, he was chased out of Gan Eden, because in Gan Eden you could not be with the sin. Okay? It says in the Sforim that there is something called ניצוצות הקדושה שנפלו לתוך קליפות הטומאה. Meaning there are sparks of holiness that went down and covered by the klippas, by the cover. And now, after the sin, the entire process of the entire history is to take the ניצוצות הקדושה from their jail in the klippas and separate them back. Separate them back and put them. Now, because this is the situation, from the entire world outside of Gan Eden we lost. Gan Eden we lost. We could not be in Gan Eden No one could be in Gan Eden with a body. Because a body after Zohar Masanachosh, we could not be in Gan Eden. So Gan Eden is out of the picture. What left after Gan Eden? The world. And in the world there are levels of Kedusha. And Eretz Yisrael is Kadosh from the entire world. And there are 10 madregas, 10 levels of Kedusha. Okay. Now, because Eretz Yisrael is the holy place, as we're going to see in this week Parsha, when Yaakov Avinu was seeing his vision over there, right? And he says, Man noira amokim hazeh en zakim bet Elokim v'zeh shar shamayim. This is the gate, the connection between the Shamayim and the Aretz, the gate. You know, when you have a city that has a wall around it, the only place that connects the inside with the outside is the gate. So we have the Shamayim, this is a spiritual dimension in the world, in the universe. We have the physical, the Aretz. The gate is Yerushalayim. This is Shar Shamayim. Okay. Now, this holy place was surrounded by the Klippa. And therefore, Canaan, which is the son of Ham, which is the most Tumedic person, or, כמעשה ארץ מצרים אשר ישבתם בה לא תעשו, כמעשה ארץ כנען לא תעשו, this is the most Tumedic. So Sodom and Amorah at the time of Avraham Avinu and the entire 7 nations that was really Tomeh, they were conquering Eretz Yisrael. Now, and this is the manifestation of what happened after the sin. That the Kedusha is covered or conquered by the Tumah. Therefore, you have to come from outside in to redeem the Kedusha from the Tumah. And this is actually the reason of the Orla that has to be taken out. Hashem created Adam without Orla, B'Tselem Elokim. When Adam sins, it says in the Medrash, Moishech ba'orla sahayo. He created this mechitza. Ki im avonoitechem hayu mavdilim benechem leben Hashem Elokechem. Therefore, you have to take this off in order to connect. Meaning, it's not a building. You have to be active, to do something, because there is Tumah, there is Klippa. We have to take off the Klippa in order to reveal the Kedusha. Same thing with Eretz Yisrael. Avraham Avinu was born outside of Eretz Yisrael. Hashem, after he reached the level, Hashem told him, okay, now you could go there. But in order for your children, they have to go to the deepest place of Tumah outside of Eretz Yisrael, to Mitzrayim. Be suffering over there, va'avadum ve'inu otam yisurim emarkin avoinas, and then they will be able to come, and then they have to fight the 7 nations and take them out of Eretz Yisrael in order to take it. This is the meaning of what it says over here. Hu bra'ah, Eretz Yisrael, the entire world, the entire creation, but speaking about Eretz Yisrael, u'netana la'asher yashar be'enav. That was the right thing to do at the time, to give it to them. Birtzono netana lahem. He gave it to them in a purpose, in a reason. And at the time of Avraham Avinu, the certain places in Eretz Yisrael that was so corrupt that has to be destroyed at the time, which is Sodom. And Hashem says to Avraham Avinu, "V'dor revi'i yashuvu hena, ki lo shalem avon ha'emori adena." They are not to the top, to the red line. When they reach the red line, lo yitechai kol neshama. The same thing that happened with Sodom will be to them. So this is the reason of Birtzono netana lahem, Birtzono netala mehem, netana lanu. Why he gave it to us? Why he gave it to us? After he took it from them. It says in Tehillim, Kuf Hey, Vayiten lahem artzot goyim. Hashem gave us the lands of the 7 nations. Ve'amal lu'umim yirashu. Why? בעבור ישמרו חוקיו ותורותיו ינצורו. Only because of this reason. So to say that Eretz Yisrael belonged to us, it's not accurate. It's belonged to us if we ישמרו חוקיו ותורותיו ינצורו. The entire reason that we have this big problem with the Arabs, which seems so not so, there is no way to solve it, no solution. They claim it's there. The entire world is behind them. And it will never be solved by, agreements. Nonsense. Why it happened? Because we claim that it's ours. The establishment of the Israel state, it's ours, but we do not want to keep Torah. We do not want connection with Hashem. We establish a secular place. Really, Hashem said, okay, I'll send you Yishmael. This is the way you should look at this conflict. Why we have this conflict? If you go, again, to all the sources in Torah, put them together, piece to piece to piece to piece, you'll see the picture. So there is a big problem there. And this problem will not be solved. After this war, even if they will kill all the murderer Hamas, all of them, you didn't even start to deal with the problems. Because there are still Arabs there. And there are Arabs in the north, and there are Arabs, and they claim it's theirs. Therefore, it's Eimat Mavet. It's scared to death, The dangers over there from Iran, it's crazy if you think about it. And you really think, or people really think, that with our tanks and with our airplanes and with the support of America, we're going to solve the problem. Nonsense. Nonsense. This is not solved problem. The only solution is Yishmeru Chukav, Torotav Yinzoru. But ask regular Israeli and will say, are you crazy? Never. Never. Okay. So that's the introduction to the topic. There is so much more. There is many nevuos in different places. I have a series of, I don't know how many, at least 7, 8 shiurim like this, and that I gave already, so I have the information. Again, if you will be interested, I'll be happy to come again and do the series of this. So this is the shiur, my monologue. Now, if you want, we could do a discussion. Let me just...
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He's going to, where is it?